It's a mess. I washed my hair today and it is, I'm talking about, ooh, I know. I had to wash my hair. But I'm like, I had to wash my hair. You seen me last night scratching and putting oil on it and stuff. Technically it's this morning, but I'm like, you saw what I was dealing with, so I had to wash my hair. Obviously, no complaints. Kevin dropped, that's why I got True Crime up. Just Thought Lounge. Kevin dropped. So I figured we might as well go ahead and swing on over there to Kevin. So I might as well go ahead and watch Shakira real quick while I'm getting everything situated. Because I still got to log in over here.
Here as special guests to watch this Nike women's 100 meter.
Oh. Ah.
Away we go. The world champion gets a much better start than Adesha Hodge. And here comes Sha'Carri. Look at Sha'Carri Richardson in the world champion.
Money! Money! Look at her. Look at her.
It may very well be Sha'Carri Richardson. No. Jefferson won it. It's a photo finish.
Oh, Jefferson won?
That's how tight it was.
Damn, go
What's the
back.
margin? And who gets it?
Hold on, go back. Let me see. Oh, that was close. Hold on, let me go back. Bitch, I thought it was Sha'Carri.
World champion gets a much better start than Adesha Hodge. And
It
here
was
comes
running their ass
Sha'Carri.
off.
Look at Sha'Carri Richardson in the world champion. Sha'Carri to the line.
Oh, it's Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri and Melissa. It may
Let me
very well be
see.
Sha'Carri Richardson. No. Jefferson won it. It's a photo finish. That's how tight it was. What's the margin? And who gets it?
Oh, that's got to be thousands.
Jefferson Wooden got the jump. Sha'Carri came back. They were level down the track.
Jefferson Wooden, that's confirmed as the winner now. 1078 season's best, and more importantly,
She looked good, though.
continues her streak. I told
She
you
looked
Sha'Carri
good,
is
though.
back,
Yeah,
back to
she
the
looked
form that
good.
saw her win the world title.
Who won? I
Look how
can't
close
even
this was.
tell.
Remember, it's the torso across the line that's going to get you the win. If anything, Sha'Carri backed off a little bit with that hand gesture. I think Sha'Carri was close enough to have won the race. So
It was hard to tell. Okay. Okay. Eesh, that was the close one. She looked good, though. That doggone Sha'Carri, though, she looked good, though. Let me get logged in. July 8th? Come on. 150? Come on. Before Kevin gets started, and he's gonna tell us what happened. Oh my God. Hold on before I get started. Mic up, mic up, mic up. My bad. Hi, Seth. Oh my God. Oh my God. I have a Seth. I forgot to put my headphones on. I got my own Seth. 8297. Okay, come on out. Oh my God. Wait, I totally have my own Seth. Okay, we're good. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. Okay, Kevin, come on, Kevin. Come on.
A call to emergency services in Nashville, Tennessee was received after 9:30 p.m. in late February 2023. The caller was 26-year-old former college football star Blaze Taylor. His girlfriend, 24-year-old Jade Benning, was suddenly very ill. She was nearly 6 months pregnant. EMTs were told that Jade was experiencing the sudden onset of a severe allergic reaction.
Oh.
Is she awake right now? Yeah. And do you think she's got an allergic reaction to food? I don't know what's happening. We got 600 months she's taking.
At the hospital, however, questions emerged. What Jade was reacting to was not allergy. In her final moments of consciousness, the young chef seemed to have recognized had the presence of mind to dial a friend's number.
And as I was walking back to my car, I get a phone call from Jade, and I answered it, and I was like, just normal. And she immediately started saying, "What did you do? What did you put in my drink?"
You got 9 viewers right now. Oh my God. Thank you for the 9 viewers that were here, but only 1 thumbs up. See?
Today's case is a heartbreaking story.
Hello. Hi, Seth. Is that Manias? It has to be Manias, right?
Mother. Despite her plans and her optimism, she met with a tragic end. Let's take a look.
What did he put in her drink? Stop messing with my drink. I wash my hair and it's
2023.
It's a
Jade
mess.
Benning was almost 25 years old.
Let me get a head
Born
there.
and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas,
Little
Jade
Rock?
had chosen to attend a community college for culinary school. She loved food and dreamt of becoming a head chef. With big dreams and plenty of talent, she graduated in 2020 and relocated from Little Rock to Nashville. There, she landed a chef's role at Ernest Bar and Hideaway. Though she maintained a busy work schedule, Jade nonetheless also found the time to launch her own catering business, JTB Eatery. Work and personal life intersected as Jade became good friends with her coworkers.
Please. We can't do that music, Kevin. I don't know if you can, but I can't.
For age of 6, Miss Jaya Jackson. Jade's dating life was active as well.
Okay.
Indeed, in early November 2022, the results of an at-home pregnancy test came back positive. In a rush of excitement, Najaya called around to find her best friend a doctor's appointment, looking to confirm the happy news. She couldn't locate a same-day appointment, though luckily found an opening the next day. Finding a new doctor can be tricky. Locating an appointment in a hurry can be even more of a challenge. For those of us not in a hurry, procrastination is our worst enemy. Finding a time, making a phone call, arranging transportation, or getting an appointment during work can seem like too much of a hassle. I know I have certainly been guilty of thinking this way at times. Thanks to the sponsor of today's video, ZocDoc, you can find an appointment quickly and easily. ZocDoc lets you search and compare local in-network doctors. You can see actual appointment openings and click to instantly book a visit. No playing phone tag, no hassle. Appointments happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours. And you can even score same-day appointments. ZocDoc is also free to use. When I was searching for a new doctor, it was difficult to know where to start. So for weeks, I just put it to the bottom.
We know you, shall we just stick to true crime today? I see Mike is up. Ian was talking about the coffee house crime. Okay. We're just going to stick to true crime today. It's True Crime Wednesday. Then we got Mike, and then we got Adrian. I'll come back. So different.
ZocDoc Lounge to get started and check out appointment off your to-do list. And a thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video and for finding a better way forward for our health.
That it must be. Is that, wait, Hold on. I didn't see the flag. Hold on. Just give me a second. Hold on, real quick. I gotta see whose flag this is. I said Mother Russia. It ain't whose flag. Damn, I got it wrong. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me see. Who was blue on top and yellow on the bottom? Don't tell me. Is that Ukraine? Okay, I said Russia. We close. Hold on. Let me make sure that's. Hold on. Give me a second. Is that Ukraine flag? Is it Ukraine? Cause is that? Let me go back and see. It's, I think so. I got blue on the bottom. I mean on the top and yellow on the bottom. That's what I got. Ukraine. I'm sorry. I did have it wrong. Dang. I saw Dimitri and I was like, oh, well, because they spell it like that. Oh, my bad. I do apologize. Ah, I'm like, that's my bad. Ukraine is in the building. Dang, I thought I had it. I was looking at the name. I wasn't looking at the flag. I do apologize. You know, I gotta get back on my flags. I gotta get back on my flags. I apologize. It's very careless of me. I usually get my flags, you know. I wasn't looking at the flag though. I was just looking at the Dmitry. I thought it was Russia because they only spell it like that. Okay, come on, Jay. What happened?
Confirmed what her at-home tests had already told her.
Right.
She was expecting a baby.
Okay.
She called back home to Poland to share
Dmitry.
the news. Her mother began shopping for supplies. Najea helped to plan baby showers. And Jade moved into a new apartment. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath
Welcome
in the
back,
Ontario
Seth.
apartment complex on Lebanon Pike. Roughly halfway along her
Toyota
pregnancy,
Tundra.
she shared photos with her mother, smiling with ultrasound photos, and posing with Ben and Jerry's half-baked ice cream.
Half-baked.
She was going to have a girl and call her Ivy. At 9:30
Don't poison me at 6 months.
February 25th, 2023.
Don't poison me at 6 months
A call was
pregnant.
placed to 911 from Jade's unit at the Ontario apartment complex. The caller was Blaze Taylor, Jade's
Okay, Seth.
boyfriend and the father of her unborn child.
Does he sound in a panic? And then how he tried to downplay it. Oh, I'm at a friend's house. I don't know where I'm at, but I'm at a friend's house.
Though Blaze struggled to
Guadalupe.
communicate the address to the operator, EMTs
Hello.
nonetheless found their way to the apartment. Failed to respond. Roughly 6 into the call, Blaze noted that he believed she had vomited. He was told to keep her on her side. It was 9:50 p.m. when EMTs made contact with Jade. They found her on top of her
I'm
bed
doing
in the
fine.
main
Thank you for
bedroom.
asking.
She was face down, a pink frothy liquid coming from her mouth onto the bed sheets. 12 minutes had passed since the start of the emergency call. When they found Jade, she no longer had a pulse.
Oh
She
my
was
God.
rushed immediately to the Vanderbilt Hospital.
She tried to save the baby.
At
12
the
minutes,
hospital,
Al.
officers sought out Blade for an explanation of
Look.
what had occurred in the minutes leading up to his 911 call. The facts he gave to the operator, while understandably confused and frantic, appeared to have been incomplete. Namely, he failed to mention that his girlfriend was nearly 6 months pregnant. He suggested again that she was having an allergic reaction.
What happened? You know, with this true crime stuff, you have to pause, and like collect your thoughts and stuff. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe I watched like too much true crime or something like that. I don't know. But I just know if someone, and the first thing you do is you call your damn daddy. Shall we call that red flag number one? Oh my God, thanks for the thumbs up, you guys. Oh my God. Look, I see it. And put some water on it.
When Jade arrived at the hospital, she did not display symptoms consistent with an allergic reaction.
Exactly.
No rash, no itching, no swollen tongue.
Right.
Initial tests did turn up abnormal results.
Uh-oh.
However, they found that Jade had consumed a significant dose of cocaine.
What the Oh my God. What in the world? What is it? Let me water dripping all on the house. Is that the devil's dandruff? I think that's just the dandruff, ain't it? Better than that damn antifreeze. I'll take it. I'll take it over that antifreeze. I mean, I know it is an OD, but never mind.
26-year-old Blaze Taylor was the son of Arkansas State football coach Trooper Taylor. After making a name for himself in high school football, Blaze earned a scholarship to play at his father's school.
Oh,
Blaze was a four-time team captain, serving in that role during every year of his playing career with the Arkansas
look
State
at him in these
Red
rings,
Wolves.
Lord.
And he was not only a standout player on the field, Blaze also excelled at academics. Blaze made history when he became the only FBS player in the country to earn both his bachelor's and master's degrees before the start of his true senior season.
Okay.
State's Blaze Taylor is a prime example of the total package on the field.
Total package.
A lot of times you get a book smart guy that doesn't have great football IQ, doesn't
Right.
have great common sense.
Right.
He's that rare combination of both.
This is humbling and it's an honor just to know that I was the first to do something.
And obviously he ain't got no damn common sense either. Now he finna spend the rest of his life in jail. Womp womp.
Do what I did.
He has his eyes on another conference championship. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
And he'll earn another bachelor's degree
Ooh.
by the end of the year.
Swerve.
In addition to his success in academics and athletics, Blaze found time for work in the community and his church. Alongside his sister, Star, a college-level athlete herself, Blaze helped to found a nonprofit organization called The Power of One or Two.
Hello, I'm Blaze Taylor,
And I'm Star Taylor.
and we are the co-founders of the Power of One or Two Incorporated. The Power of One or Two is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to empower, educate, and enhance the lives of children and families of at-risk youth. Remember, it only takes one
Or two.
to make a difference in the lives of others.
I'll probably be working for him one day. He could be the GM of a program one day. He could be the owner. I mean, I wouldn't not tell somebody. Wouldn't surprise me if he
I
runs
would,
for
Bobby,
president.
but
He's just that kind of guy.
just have to leave it be.
After college graduation, Blaze launched a career in football, coaching, and scouting.
Oh,
By February 2023, he was working as a pro scout for the Tennessee Titans. The role
what
frequently
you get a
took him
bachelor and a
away.
master's for if you're
His
gonna?
busy work schedule did not cause too much of a hindrance to his social life. At that time, he was active on Hinge in dating more than one woman.
Not Hinge.
Mary Jackson, and I'm sitting here today with Blaze Taylor.
Very happy to be here. Glad to be able to interview a video, and excited to be here with T.
I like that little rug in the back.
Is there a lady in your life?
Cute.
Right now, I'm currently single, and so no, I'm not dating anyone,
He lying.
in a relationship or anything like that. So for anybody that's wondering, I'm single. I don't have any woman in my life right now.
Blaze
lying.
had been on the road in mid-February. He returned to Nashville just a few days before his date night with Jade Benning went horribly wrong. Following the ambulance from the apartment to the hospital was not only Blaze, but also Jade's closest and longest friend, Najea Jackson. Najea and a college classmate of hers, Keontae Jones, had dropped by Jade's apartment earlier that night to collect take-home portions of the chef's famous chicken Alfredo. At that time, Jade had been in good spirits, happy and normal, they said. However, something drastic changed after they left. 9:29 p.m., Najea received a phone call from Jade. On that call, Jade did not speak directly to her friend. Instead, she held the line open, allowing Najea to overhear the exchange underway
Good
inside the
job.
apartment.
Good job.
Jade sounded scared and frantic. She accused her boyfriend of putting something in her drink. She told Blaze that he was scaring her and that she felt strange. She grew progressively more incoherent over the 6 minutes that she was on the line.
Damn.
Then the call disconnected.
Why you ain't calling?
Najea rushed back to the Ontario apartment complex in just enough time to witness Jade being loaded into an ambulance. From the hospital, Blaze contacted his family. He spoke with his mother, telling her only that he believed Jade had been diagnosed with COVID. Meanwhile, Jade's family was making the roughly 6-hour drive from Little Rock to Nashville in a confused panic. Her mother, Bridget, arrived in the middle of the night. Jade was on life support. Distraught and receiving no answers from law enforcement, she called upon good friends to try and make sense of the horrific situation. Stephanie Franklin, a longtime friend of Bridget's and former school teacher to Jade, went to her apartment along with her daughter and another friend to collect evidence.
Crime
The
scene?
group wore gloves, took photographs, recorded videos, and analyzed the scene as they found it. The women were met with a remarkably clean apartment. Pots and pans from the chicken Alfredo had been tidied. The leftover portion packed into a container on the kitchen counter. On the stovetop was a baking tray with a handful of cookies still sitting out. The kitchen island showed the main activity from the night abandoned. 2 paintings alongside art supplies sat next to a glass of water.
Okay.
There were a few pillows on the floor of the living room, but no further visible mess in that area either. There were 2 items that caught Stephanie's attention.
What?
The first
The
was
cup?
the placement of Jade's Blink camera. It usually lived on the kitchen counter, just next to the refrigerator and stovetop. The women instead found it on the window's ledge, pointing out towards the street.
Oh.
Its placement appeared both odd and deliberate. On the bed, where Jade had been found unresponsive, there was a pink stain on the comforter. To Stephanie's eye, it appeared that perhaps another liquid had been poured on top of it, leaving another, larger, dried stained ring around it. Had another fluid been applied to dilute the original stain? The women began looking for what Jade could have consumed that night. In her refrigerator, they found a jug of pink fruit punch and one of lemonade.
Okay.
These they handled, removed from the fridge, and left out for investigators.
Shout out to Bridget and Stephanie, I think her damn name is. You know, that true crime, it'll take over. It'll jump start, it'll kick in the gear. You don't even be knowing what you should like. We finna go back to the house. We finna go investigate. They taking pictures, video, they gathering evidence. Bridget.
They seized the comforter, placing it with their gloved hands into a garbage bag, and then carrying it from the apartment.
Yes.
They later handed it off to Jade's parents, ostensibly for safekeeping.
Yes.
The amount of oxygen Jade lost before she was resuscitated proved too much. Doctors sadly advised family that she would never wake up. On March 6th, 2023, Jade Benning was removed from life support. It was her 25th birthday. Her baby girl, Ivy, had died days before. Dr. Aaron Cardy, the medical examiner, found that Jade's cause of death was a cocaine overdose, though she left the manner of death as undetermined. Family and friends strongly believed that the young chef had been murdered, but medical science and autopsy findings alone could not prove how the drugs entered her body, nor who put them there. So investigators began looking into the relationship between Jade and Blaze Taylor. What they found was a less than excited father-to-be. Blaze and Jade first connected on Hinge in January 2022. They messaged on and off for a couple of months before the correspondence died off. Then, in August, they reconnected and agreed to meet in person. After their first date, the romance progressed rapidly. At least, their physical connection did. When Jade confirmed her pregnancy in early November, she was already approximately 7 weeks along. The two were still newly dating and not exclusive when they were faced with the decision over their future as parents or not. After some contemplation, Jade made her choice clear. She wanted to keep the baby, whether Blaze was involved or not. She did, of course, hope that he would be open to being a father. But the former football star did not receive the news of her pregnancy positively. She texted her mother stating that telling him did not go well, and Blaze wanted her to have an abortion, wanted no involvement, and did not want the child to ever know him. On November 6th, Jade sent a message to Blaze parting ways. She would honor his wishes not to be involved, but leave the door open for him to change his mind. She wrote, "I think it may be best that we go ahead and cut ties and communication between us. You said how you and stated that moving forward, you want no part, so I will let it just be that. I will not involve you at any point. I will love this child unconditionally, with or without you." Jade finished by letting Blaze know when her next appointment was with her OBGYN.
Why you do
should he
that?
change his mind and wish to attend. He did not. The two broke off all communication
Okay.
until New Year's, when Blaze started calling again.
You didn't think that was suspicious? Never mind. We know how naive it can. Oh my God. See, you know what? And y'all wonder why them lioness. You wonder why they duck off for however long they have
Blaze
to.
reached out to reconnect with Jade. It was unsolicited, but not unwelcome. Jade's response to his apparent change of heart was consistent with who she was as a person, unfailingly optimistic. They began to spend time together once more, not explicitly as a couple, but with the intention of getting to know one another better. Throughout this period, however, Blaze's position towards the pregnancy had not fully shifted. He was still uncomfortable with announcing that he was the father. In fact, he and Jade agreed to a formal paternity test after Ivy was born.
Totally fine.
In keeping with his wishes, Jade had kept her pregnancy news under wraps, sending photos and updates only to close friends and family, but never posting more widely on social media.
Okay.
Nonetheless, she was happy to continue spending time together to see where things may lead. With this in mind, Jade planned their evening on February 25th. 2 blank canvases, paint supplies, dinner, and fresh-baked cookies. She snapped a series of photos throughout the evening. At 6:48 p.m., dinner was set. Najea and Keontae arrived for a brief visit sometime around 7:30. They stayed for about 15 minutes. By 8:29 p.m., Jade captured the progress of their artwork. Hers, a colorful display of stripes and inspirational words. His, a blackened canvas. Both were intended to decorate Ivy's nursery. At 9:10, the photos showed the paintings were nearly complete. The next activity was between 9:24 and 9:28 p.m. when the two took photos with their artwork, then took silly and affectionate poses together in the kitchen. Only 1 minute after the last photo was snapped, Jade placed the call to Najea. The call that would send her friend racing back to the apartment in a panic. The medical examiner later determined the significant amount of cocaine ingested by Jade had to have been taken orally roughly 30 minutes before she began displaying the severe reaction that led to her collapse in the bedroom. That meant that she likely consumed the dose sometime just before her painting was completed. The drug was already working its way through her system throughout the 4-minute period that she posed joyfully with her baby's father. Investigators searched the apartment on February 26th.
Y'all late.
Initially, a sweep took place the night before
Right.
when Jade had been taken to the hospital.
Right.
Law enforcement's failure to properly secure the scene afterwards, however, meant that by the time they returned to formally document any potential evidence of a crime, multiple individuals close to Jade had entered, moved, and removed items. The jugs of fruit juice and lemonade were secured for testing, as well as the glass that Jade was believed to have used that night. The dinner food, containers, and other kitchen items were tested. No cocaine was found in the apartment, nor was there any trace of the drug in either of the pink-colored drinks or any drinking glasses. Yet, it was indisputable that they consumed the drug orally. The only explanation was that a drink glass, liquids, and traces of the drug had either been removed from the scene or thoroughly cleaned. Jade had not maintained a subscription for her Blink camera, which functioned only as a live feed. Had it been recording, however, its location next to the bedroom window would have ensured that it did not capture anything of evidentiary value in the kitchen, nor what transpired on Jade's bed. The apartment building had surveillance, which could have captured movement to and from the unit that night, if Blaze had disposed of items, for example, before EMTs arrived. But investigators sought out this footage too late. It had already been deleted. The vomit-stained comforter taken from the apartment tested positive for cocaine. However, there was not much value in this finding. It did not link the drug to Blaze, and no other item did either. For months, investigators continued to search for answers. It was the year following Jade's death before prosecutors believed that they had enough evidence to proceed with murder charges. In March 2024, a grand jury indicted Blaze Taylor.
Can I ask your name?
Blaze.
Blaze, I need you to step out of the car for me, okay?
U.S. Marshals arrested him in Utah, where he was working as a football coach.
What's your last name?
Taylor.
Put your hands behind your back for me, okay? What's wrong? You got a warrant out of Tennessee for homicide.
He had recently been hired to join the staff at Texas A&M, but instead would stand trial for murder. Blaze Taylor pleaded not guilty and went to trial in June 2026. At the heart of the prosecution's case are Jade's own words, the last ones she would speak while on the phone to her friend, confused and rapidly showing symptoms of the drug that was in her system.
Her friend was talking to Blaze Taylor, and Jim then said, "What did you do? I can't feel my legs. I can't walk straight. What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tasted funny. What's in your hand? Show me. Show me your pockets.
Oh,
What did you put in my drink?"
The prosecution argued that Blaze was determined that Jade would not have the baby. Indeed, he wanted to keep the pregnancy a secret, but as her third trimester approached, that seemed increasingly unlikely. Jade was actively planning baby showers in both Little Rock and Nashville for her birthday, only days away. By March 6th, the news would be out. Instead, she died that day. Blaze's defense was unrelenting in their questioning, attempting to murky the waters of every witness
sure.
and dissect and deflect every statement.
That's
They
their
argued
job.
that the integrity of the evidence was compromised by poor investigative practices. They pointed to the medical examiner's inability to categorize the death as a homicide. Indeed, the manner of death remained undetermined even as the case went to trial. Crucial to their argument, however, was the assertion that Jade chose to take the cocaine. Their client did not do drugs. He did not even drink. But Jade Benning, they said, had a history of drug use.
You'll hear that she was involved with marijuana. You'll hear that she was involved with Adderall. You will hear that she was involved with the weed cartridges. I think they call it resin. You'll hear that she was involved with mushrooms. That she would take mushrooms. And you will hear that she also drank a lot until she was drunk often.
That ain't got nothing to do with cold.
I cannot rule this a homicide. And the reason she's going to tell you she cannot rule this a homicide is because of the circumstances surrounding this baby's death.
Attention fitness lovers.
That's what you paid all your money for? Come on, cream soup.
Told the jury
Ow!
that her best friend
No,
who had
Jane.
been more like a sister to her.
Jade was a very outgoing, charismatic, go with the flow type of girl. A girl that never met a stranger. She didn't care your socioeconomic background. She didn't care your gender, your race. She would meet anyone and become their friend the same day.
Jade and Najea were in contact daily. They shared everything with each other. When Blaze told Jade that he did not wish to be involved in their child's life, Najea sought to reassure her friend that she would still have all the support she needed.
I told her that we're sisters at the end of the day. So if I have to be the biggest,
Come on, give me all them tears, honey. I need all the tears. This is when Mark would come in with that tissue in the back of the camera. I haven't been over there to South White Underbelly in a minute.
We did this together. I always reassured her that she's never alone.
A real friend.
Through tears,
Come on, Edges.
Najaya told the jury about the phone call that she received from Jade on the evening of February.
And what you heard again?
And as I was walking back to my car, I get a phone call from Jade, and I answered it, and I was like, hello? Just normal. And she immediately started saying, what did you do? What did you put in my drink? Then I heard her say, Blaze, you're scaring me. And he was like, you're scaring me. And she was like, I know you put something in my drink. She's like, I knew my drink tasted funny. And she was asking him to empty his pockets. And she was like, let me see what's in your pockets. Let me see. And he was like, I don't have anything. So this whole time I'm like, Jay, like trying to get a response from him.
You should have recorded the phone conversation instead of screaming. Trying to get her
So
attention.
because I didn't get a response from her, I texted her and I was like, are you talking to me? What's going on?
She talking to you.
And then she was like, I know you put something in my drink because I can't even walk to drink.
Stop trying to look cute crying.
She was saying that she couldn't feel her legs.
Damn.
And then she said it again. And she was like, you put something in my drink. You did this so something.
Why would you ask her if she need a Kleenex?
She said that you did this so something could happen to the baby.
Stop trying to cry cute.
Blaze was heard on the phone call making only two statements. The first was that Jade was the one scaring him. The second was his denial that he was carrying anything in his pockets. Najaya did not hear him questioning Jade's other accusations. She did not hear him questioning Jade's behavior or declining physical state. She did not hear him trying to assist her friend in any way. After the call disconnected, she tried calling back repeatedly.
Did you hang up?
No.
At any point did Mr. Taylor say anything to you?
No.
And what did you do after that line got cut?
I called back.
Did you call back more than once?
Yes.
At some point, and you're calling back and spinning stuff, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you have Blaze Taylor's phone to call him?
No.
At some point, was her phone answered?
Yes.
And who answered it when you called back?
Blaze.
And can you describe what was said in that phone call?
I answered the phone, and he answered the phone, and I was like, Blaze, like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, FaceTime me. Like, let me see her. And he doesn't FaceTime me, but he tells me that he's about to call 911.
Prosecutors may not have the physical evidence linking Blaze to the drugs. What they did have was a potential pattern of behavior. Jade Benning was not the first girlfriend of Blaze Taylor's who became pregnant with his baby. She was at least the third. The former football player's college girlfriend, Apple Denny, took the stand to explain her experience dating Blaze Taylor. When she became pregnant at the age of 19, she felt unprepared. She panicked at the thought of becoming a young mother. Blaze was accepting of her decision not to keep the baby. However, Apple also told jurors that she knew of one additional pregnancy, another woman whom Blaze dated, albeit briefly, in college. She too became pregnant, but unlike Apple, she considered raising the child. Blaze's reaction was less accepting in that instance, she said.
Very erratic. He
like was upset, didn't want to have a baby with her. That's what he was telling me. That this was something that he couldn't do.
Was that a different reaction than he had when you told him you were pregnant, but you did not want to keep the baby?
Yes, it was like flipped. Like how I was like panicked the first time around, and he was freaking out when it was her.
Blake
I told you in them details. Didn't I tell y'all about it's in the details? She let it slip. It wasn't me. She the one that let it slip. But did you hear what she said the first time around? Oh, the first time around. Oh, so you got pregnant by him more than once. Got it. Uh. Tread lightly, Apple. Tread lightly, honey. We over here paying attention to them details, which obviously makes sense because how would you know about another chick that he got pregnant unless you was around, and still around to testify at another chick? Girl.
was not only panicked, he was proactive. According to Apple, he was seeking ways to force the decision that he wanted, even if that meant sneaking a pill into her drink.
Asked me if I could get the abortion pills and he could make her take them or put it in her drink.
Did you do that?
Did I get the pill?
Yes. Was that even, not saying that you would agree to do that, but is that even possible?
No.
And did you explain that to him?
Yes.
And you said that it went over a couple of days. Did he talk about anything else that he might be able to get to put in her drink?
Yes.
And the things that he was mentioning, how did he get the information?
He said he was looking stuff up on his phone. I couldn't like see what he was looking at, but he had his phone in his hand.
Investigators found no text messages, search history, financial transactions, or witnesses indicating that Blaze Taylor had ever purchased, handled, or sought out cocaine prior to the poisoning. Prosecutors speculated that Blaze was aware that the drug was known to cause spontaneous abortions and severe pregnancy complications, but they could not prove that Blaze had ever accessed such information. What they did find from his phone data were messages that he exchanged with yet another woman. Her name was Xavier Winford. They had known each other since at least 2017. On February 24th, the day before Blaze agreed to his dinner and painting date with Jade, he was messaging Xavier, telling her that she should not doubt him or their relationship. Blaze wrote, "Everything is going to work out. I love you, and I need you to love me back and be in love with me. I just want us to be happy together." Blaze continued his relationship with Xavier after Jade's death. In fact, when police tracked him down in Utah and arrested him on murder charges, she was in the car right next to him.
The day before Jade Benning is murdered, the day before, the night before she is murdered, Jade Benning wanted to see Blaze Taylor that night, and he didn't. He is texting Xavier Winford. He says, "I'll do anything to help you. That's what I'm here for." She says, "I trust that's true," and he says, "Good. Do you trust in us?" She responds, "Yes."
Why don't we have these type of text messages with the Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson text message? Can it? Because we got metadata, we got to and from, we got time stamps and stuff. Why we don't have that?
Good.
This is a shaky one right here. I don't know what kind of verdict we're gonna get with all this circumstantial evidence. Y'all ain't got nothing concrete.
You have nothing to worry about. Everything
He covered his tracks with this one here.
is going to work
Damn.
out.
He covered his tracks with this one here. This is shaky. We haven't even made it to the iPhone 17, so I don't really want to talk about no case.
Blaze Taylor had chosen not to take the stand
For
at
what?
trial.
He
His
should have.
team did call a series of medical experts who sought to poke holes in the prosecution's theory.
Welcome back.
His defense team heavily emphasized that he was a professional NFL scout with no personal history of drug abuse or drinking, arguing there was no logical way or reason for him to possess a lethal amount of cocaine. They suggested that Jade's references to marijuana and mushrooms in various text messages to friends meant that she was a seasoned drug user. There was never any evidence presented to show that Jade ever knowingly took illegal drugs or drank alcohol after learning she was pregnant. There was no reason to believe that she had ever tried cocaine. There was a wealth of evidence showing her joyful preparations to welcome Ivy to the world.
Blaze Taylor did not plan for Jade Benning calling Nyjah Jackson. That hadn't happened yet. The last event that happens is that deleted picture, and within 45 seconds, Jade is calling her best friend. What did you do? She is calling her best friend scared, and she is not talking to Nyjah. At some point, Blaze Taylor figured out that Jade called Nyjah. Nyjah Jackson's testimony was unimpeached about what she heard her best friend said and about what happened that night. Blaze Taylor did call 911. He did.
After he called his daddy.
But he already knew that Nyjah had been on that phone call. That he already knows she's on her way. I submit to you that call to 911 by Blaze Taylor is because Jade messed up the plan. He knew Nyjah was coming. That's why he called.
The defense questioned.
Do we even have evidence that he called his dad? They should have called his dad as a witness. Did he call you? Did you tell him to call 911? That's what we should have got. We should have put his phone records to figure out did he really call his dad, since that's what he told. Never mind.
The toxicology results. One test showed the presence of cocaethylene, metabolized cocaine alongside alcohol. Every expert agreed that it would only be present if alcohol and cocaine were consumed simultaneously. Though the amount found in Jade's system was so small, it was suggested that the ethylene could have been sourced from common food items, not an alcoholic drink. The vanilla extract in Jade's cookies may have been enough to produce this result, for example. The defense argued that it was far more likely that Jade had taken the liquid cocaine in an alcoholic drink. If that was the case, she must have known what she was consuming. The taste of alcohol would have been obvious, particularly to a professional chef with a refined palate.
One thing they cannot get away from is that she had cocaethylene in her system. They can't get as much as they would love to. They told you first it was coming from vanilla extract. Don't do it. Don't believe it.
Don't do that.
Or two, because of some of the treatments she got at Vanderbilt. There is no treatment at Vanderbilt that leaves you with cocaethylene in your system when cocaine and alcohol come together. That means, think about this, that means that he would have had to put cocaine and alcohol in either her water or her lemonade. And the chefs have sensitive palates. They taste food. That's what they do. They'll taste something and they'll tell you what ingredient is in it because they're trained that way. She didn't taste alcohol or cocaine. Neither one of them. and the amount that they're saying that he gave her? Does that make sense?
It's a shaky one. He might get
Outside
off.
of the trial,
He might get off with this one. I don't know. I'm trying to get to the end. I said he was going to spend the rest of his life in prison, but I don't know. They ain't got nothing concrete. I don't know what this jury like over here in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe that's where we at, right? I don't know. This is a shaky one. Let me get to the end.
meetings, commentators noted that Blaze Taylor had family connections to a dental office, a clinical environment where liquid cocaine is sometimes legally utilized. But prosecutors never introduced this theory or any evidence regarding it in court. They were never able to show where he may have sourced the drug.
He might get off on this one, you guys.
The jury returned with their verdict in just 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay. Guilty.
We, the jury, find the defendant Blaze Allen Taylor for count 1 guilty of second-degree murder.
Yeah. Don't cry. He look like he about to cry.
Count 2 guilty of first
Oh. First
Blaze
degree.
Taylor was convicted on all 4 counts, which included first and second-degree murder relating to the deaths of both Jade Benning and her unborn baby, Ivy. They recommended life imprisonment with the possibility of parole.
When?
Under Tennessee state law,
Look.
this requires Blaze to serve at least 51 years in prison before he can first apply for release.
Now, let's just take a minute here. Let's just take a minute here. Now, let's play a game. Which would you rather? Which would you rather? Can we just take a game, play a game real quick? I'm just curious to know where your mind is at right now. You know, because we come across a lot of these type of stories. A lot of these type of stories. So, let's play a which would you rather game. Would you rather be a father, or would you rather spend 51 years in prison? I don't know. You let me know. I'm just asking. Which would you rather? Would you rather be a father, or would you rather spend 51 years in prison? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I mean, because you got Apple pregnant, you got another chick pregnant, then you spun the block and got Apple pregnant again, maybe again, because she said the first time. She's gonna be that pen pal. Let me just put that out there. That Apple gonna be that pen pal. She's gonna be taking all of your collect calls. She's gonna be trying to make sure you have any conjugal visits or something like that. That's Apple. You know, it's always one out the bunch, honey. While she was over there with all that damn blush on her face, it's always gonna be one ex that's just as delusional as you, sir. Because I'm like, she said that you could just go on about your life and, you know.
The judge will formally hand down the final sentence at a separate hearing scheduled for September 9th, 2026.
Oh, it's coming up.
The court will decide if the prison sentences will run consecutively or concurrently.
Concurrent? What you mean? Consecutive my ass.
Jade's mother told the court
Bridget
about her daughter's vibrant personality, her successful catering business, and how incredibly excited she had been to welcome her baby girl, Ivy. Following the verdict, They expressed the severe
Look
trauma
at Bridget.
of having to listen to the defense team spend days falsely attacking Jade's
Right,
character
right,
and labeling her a drug user.
right. Exactly.
Now,
For
however,
smoking
they feel
weed.
some relief. As
Smoke.
justice
I'm a drug addict smoking weed.
was served.
It was. It definitely was, and I appreciate the prosecutors for, you know, it was shaky, even down to the last few minutes. I was like, oh, are we gonna get this one? I guess I should have known Kevin wouldn't have never brought it to us if we didn't get no justice. It was just shaky, all this circumstantial evidence. We didn't have nothing. We literally didn't have nothing. Shout out to Najee. Is that her name? Najee? I think it's Najee. Shout out to Najee for coming to the stand and having her phone on, because you know after a certain time my ringer be off, so I am prone to missing a phone call. But shout out to her for taking that phone call and for listening in. She should have recorded it. She could have recorded it. I'm just saying. Let me scroll down. Yeah, I heard about Taylor and Travis. They had got married. I'm like, we'll see how long it lasts. She doesn't have like a really good track record, but her and Travis has been thugging it out for a minute now, so I'm very proud of Taylor. She's growing up, but you know, marriage he different for everybody. It's true crime. I gotta stick to true crime. See, mic dropped, and this wasn't even the one that I was about to watch. It was another one. Let me stand up, take a step, stand up, take a stretch break. Because y'all was out when at 7. Okay, little freckles. I think I should be able to.
Didn't look like maybe somebody hit there, so they go off right. It doesn't look like anybody's hit it. It looks like he just went off the road. I'm going to stay here until you get up this way.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, it is time to, once again, and it's been a while, take a look at some national park horrors. In this video, that's you and me, are going to examine some of the strangest and most horrifying events, all of which have occurred in national parks.
Here we go.
Murders, strange disappearances that seem almost impossible, and literal nightmares. We're going to do this iceberg style as we do, where each story is a little bit more disturbing than the previous one. But before we get into all that, please subscribe to see new stories for the dark every single week.
No.
Now let's give it a go.
Jacob Gray. Is this new?
The Olympic National Park in the great state of Washington is a place we have returned to time and time again. Maybe because it's endless, the mist and fog making it seem like a place out of time. It's isolated, with the ocean to the west, Seattle to the east, on its own little, almost island. One of the last frontiers, a place that looks on a map like it's trying to hide from the rest of civilization. Spooky. But 22-year-old Jacob Gray, he didn't think so at all. He was prepared. He had his bike, a red Specialized hard rock with Milwaukee tools down the side. It was a promo bike that his dad had actually gifted to him. And in the spring of 2017, he was in Fort Townsend, Washington, a small city on the outskirts of the national park. He had his bike and a trailer filled with pots, pans, wool blankets, tape, tools, tent, fuel, food, first aid kits, poncho, sleeping bag, and so on and so on. What didn't he have? This was early April, so the Washingtonian weather was a little all over the place, but that wasn't something that would ever stop a guy like Jacob, who would soon be setting out on an adventure. Jacob was an introverted young man, always searching for the next big thing. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life just yet, and so he wanted to see as much as he could. He had worked as a farmhand, had done some modeling, nothing really interested him though, except the outdoors.
Hi, my name is Jacob Gray. I'm 19 years old, 5 feet 11 inches, from Santa Cruz, California.
Jacob was originally from Santa Cruz, California, a natural-born surfer, and nothing was going to stop him. And he didn't tell anyone where he was going, not even his Mima, who he had been staying with in Port Townsend, not his grandmother, not his parents back in Santa Cruz, no one. He was just heading off. And it was late on April 4th that he was out pedaling into the rain. Folks, the outdoors can be a scary place. People get lost in He pedaled his balls off with the little trailer on the rear on Solid Oak Hot Spring Road. This was about 90 miles from Port Townsend. She had passed by him in the morning driving on this road as it went uphill. But then, strangely, in the afternoon, as she was driving down that very same road, just this time going down the mountain, she thought she saw something off to the side of a road, like in the woods. It was that same trailer she had seen in the morning, attached to the guy's bike. Only now there was no sign of the guy. This time it looked like it had been abandoned to the side of that road. A ranger would later stumble across it and think it weird. What at first seemed like abandonment, though, turned into something else.
Dispatch, 741 Ron on North Point. 741 Ron. I've got a bicycle that has went off the Salt Oak Road about mile marker 7, and I can't find anybody around it. You might want to send a ranger up here so we can see what's going on. Copy, thanks for the info.
Ron, I'll hit that way. Is that bicycle down the bank a ways, or is it easy to get to?
It's easy to get to. It's got a little carrier on the back of it, too. It looked like it crashed off the road. It doesn't look like anybody's hit it. It looks like he just went off the road.
The camping equipment was all spread out on a tarp beside the trailer, as if somebody had been organizing their equipment. Then they vanished. Jacob was nowhere to be seen. His bike was here. The tires were in good shape. There was no damage to the bike. No reason to leave it here, just randomly off the side of the road in the woods. All his camping equipment, right there, spread out on this tarp. And strangely enough, there were 4 arrows embedded into the ground in a row. Over the next day or so, that same ranger who had first found this scene, he periodically came back, checked on it, had a goo, to see if whoever left this here returned at all. Maybe they'd left all their stuff here, gone off to do something else, and were going to come back. But there was no movement on any of the items. Finding among the equipment a list of phone numbers, they were able to establish that this was Jacob Gray's stuff. But no sign of him. And calling his family, they had no idea where he was. He hadn't been reported missing, but it seemed like he most certainly was. Jacob had told his family that he was going on a major bike odyssey, going east towards Vermont to see his brother who lived out there, not west. He was excited for this. He estimated he would be doing an Into the Wild, working his way across America, picking up odd jobs here and there. So why had he come here, west, where the weather was very, very poor? Nearby this makeshift campsite was a fast-flowing river, so an initial hypothesis was that he had been here, setting up a little camp, going through all of his items. He'd only been on the road 2 days by this point, but he'd been here, setting up all his stuff, going through all his stuff. He'd gone to the river to, maybe get some water, and this fast-flowing river just took him away. It was still in early spring. At this point, the river fast. It would melt in snow, but they wouldn't be able to find anything or even search for anything till later on the summer when when the river died down. When his family arrived onto the scene themselves to take part in the search, they were just as puzzled as the initial rangers had been. None of this makes sense, especially with those 4 arrows in a row. That was weird. There was nothing wrong with anything, no reason to have laid everything out here. As I said, he'd only been on the road like 48-ish hours. The search began. The water was searched, the thick brush, the deep woods. It was led by his family who never gave up. The authorities never gave this missing persons case the proper resources. They simply believed they didn't have enough to go on to warrant sending out helicopters and major search parties to find him. Jacob had his winter jacket, a backpack, items to keep going, items not found at the scene. Jacob put an energy, though, into preparing for this trip. Why just abandon everything off the road? And the searches continued with no luck. It wasn't until over a year later that they got an answer, though in this disturbing disappearance, it just led to more questions. It was August 10th, 2018. A team of biologists were high up in the mountains, near a ridge above Hoh Lake. This is 5,300 feet above sea level, 15 miles into the mountains from where his bike was. Not an easy trek. Jacob's remains were found there, along with clothing, gear, and his wallet. He was not near any trail. He was on the side of a very steep ridge. The cause of Jacob's death was inconclusive. There were no signs of trauma. He had with him his insulated clothing, plenty of food. Why was he here? It doesn't make any sense. No one knows. This is at least a 10-hour hike uphill into the mountains in pouring rain to get here. And Jacob had left almost all his supplies behind. And it would have been bad weather. Why leave his stuff behind him? How did he die? Although it would have gotten very cold, he had insulated clothing, food, his backpack, survival equipment. Again, no signs of injury. If he'd gotten into trouble, why not go back down the mountain? Did you find something out there on the road? Something, someone, some secret that he's taken to the grave with him? Was it self-harm? Had he decided to just abandon his stuff and wander off? Well, his family thinks that incredibly unlikely. He was very excited for this big adventure he was planning, that he believed would take him a couple of years, traveling across, seeing all of America, more or less. But people always say that, it seems unlikely that they would do that, but you never really know what's going on up here. In this case, it doesn't make much sense why his body was found so far from where his equipment was found, and the way his equipment was found, the way his body was found. He had clothing to prevent hypothermia. He had food to prevent starvation. There was no injuries on his body like a broken bone or a broken leg or anything which would have prevented him from going back down the mountain, which he didn't do. The weather was bad, but it was getting better. It was in April. It was going into summertime. The disappearance of Gray doesn't really make any sense. Nothing about this case makes any sense.
50% of people in this country.
The Rocky Mountain National Park is one of, if not the most beautiful parks in the United States. It's over 250,000 acres of spectacular mountains, meadows, ridges, rivers, and talking about it from my point of view, mysteries. The beautiful national park is home to some horrors, and one of the big dogs of those horrors is the story of young Alfred Beilhartz. Alfred was just a young fella, 4 years of age, when his family went out to celebrate Independence Day, 1938. The Beilhartz family, which was father William, mom Snowdrop, and their 10 children lived in Denver and were headed out with some friends to camp that weekend in early July. The family were camped up around here, where Fall River and Roaring River meet, near Horseshoe Falls. And on the morning of July 3rd, after a night amongst the trees and under the stars, Dad William got up around 8 a.m. and walked down to the stream to wash up. Little Alfred followed him down. Now down at the stream were two friends of the family, Orrin and Walter, though they were about 500 feet downstream from where William and Alfred were. So William, Dad, gets there, washes up, washes the little fella, and then is going to go head back to camp. But Alfred, young Alfred, he wanted to go over to where Oren and Walter were. So William says, okay, sure, they'll take you back to camp. William returns to camp, and then a short while later, so did Oren and Walter. Alfred did not return to camp. It's believed that somewhere between William leaving him, but before he reached Oren and Walter, he vanished. The search began immediately, spreading out in all directions. After all, this is a 4-year-old boy. Couldn't have gotten far. But there was no sign of him. They quickly alerted the authorities. Hundreds of searchers would arrive to help. Dogs, cadaver dogs, were brought in. But they quickly lost this trail. One dog led towards a bridge crossing the river, the other up the mountain. Now, the initial theory and the most likely scenario was that the child had fallen into the river. And so 3 days after he vanished, a dam was built to divert the river so it could be searched. And they found nothing. There were also a number of beaver dams downstream of the river, so he couldn't have gotten washed away. And searches revealed nothing. He'd either fallen into the water and simply been missed as they searched the river, been taken by one of the black bears that roamed the area, or he'd been kidnapped. The Beilhart's family, William and Snowdrop, they were thinking option number 3. They always believed he'd gone into the woods. And this is when the story gets even stranger. In an abandoned cabin, about a mile from the camp, a small bandage was found in there, just by itself. Now, Alfred had a bandage, a gauze bandage, on his heel at the time he disappeared. And Alfred hated bandages. He was a young boy. He would always just rip them off anytime he got injured. Investigators believed that that bandage was Alfred's. Had he been taken here? Had he simply wandered here to this abandoned cabin, and then where then? Then on July 8th, a report came in of a possible sighting of the boy. Now, the sighting had been made on July 3rd, which is the day he disappeared, the day in question. A hiker from Denver said that on that day, himself and the wife had been 6 miles west of the campground, near Mount Chapin, and at around 1 p.m., they stopped to rest along the trail. And looking up to the mountain, towards an area called Devil's Nest, they would say they saw the boy. The report goes exactly like this. He said they stopped to rest, and then looking far up the mountainside, saw a boy sitting on a rock. When the couple climbed to the point near the rock, Eels, the man, said the child had disappeared. He expressed belief no child could have reached the spot without assistance. Was that Alfred? If so, one, how did he reach that spot in so short a time from when he had last been seen at the campground? He was seen there on the mountain at 1 p.m. He disappeared from the campsite around 8 a.m. And then 2, if that was him, who was with him? Because he couldn't have gotten there by himself. Both hikers said they saw him, so I would believe that they saw someone. It's also been reported the child that they saw made a shrill noise, which could have been a scream, a cry for help, and that he was jerked away, perhaps after screaming. A search of that area, Devil's Nest, was done, and, quoting from the newspaper, park officials were convinced it would have been utterly impossible for him to have climbed alone to the high mountain spot where it was believed he might have been sighted. No trace remained. That same day, July 3rd, another woman would come forward saying she saw a young boy with a mysterious man walking alongside of the highway. She came forward with this report after seeing the picture of Alfred in the newspaper and was convinced that the boy she had seen walking along the highway with some stranger was Alfred. So that's 2 separate alleged sightings of the boy the day he went missing, but both again seem weirdly impossible. The search was eventually called off. No idea where he went with no concrete proof, and the sightings seemed impossible. Then, in November of 1938, the family received a ransom note. Sorry for your son. We went west, out of money. The boy doesn't take to us. We will return your son if you leave $500, 20 feet from 32nd and Syracuse, 1 block from your house. We will return your son within 24 hours. The police later staked out that area, made an arrest, but they were not part of any plot, it's believed, if it even existed. Police said they believed he ransomed fate. No one knows what happened to little Alfred. That's despite the family's
It's one thing, right? Like let me tell you something. It's one thing to lose a child. Never had that happen. I've never experienced that before a day in my life, and I thank the universe because oh my goodness, I can't imagine. But then you have to deal with these deranged, maniacal individuals. And it brings me to this story that I heard. I'm trying to think of the name of it. There's this story of this guy who, hold on. I'm trying to think of the name of the movie of the guy who, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's say, pretended to be a missing boy. Imposter. It was one of them late nights that I had got off streaming, and I was going through my playlist, and I'm trying to find something to watch to put me to sleep. And I'm just trying to find something to watch. Just trying to find. And I run across this show of this guy, the imposter. When I tell you. Now, I think that this was the actual. Something wrong with him. When I tell you something is wrong with that Frederic. He done went over there. He done got him a passport. He done went into these people's house. He done portrayed to be their missing son. The levels that people go.
Searches, putting ads in the paper, rewards, pushing for some kind of resolution. They never got an answer. Did he fall into the river and was missed? Did a bear? Was he kidnapped by someone out there? The kidnapping theory is what the family always believed happened to Alfred. It just seems like a very strange place, a very opportunistic kidnapper out there in the middle of nowhere to suddenly just nab a boy.
Right.
What about Oren and Walter, the last people who may have seen him? Alfred was going towards those two men, then they returned, no Alfred. Were they telling the truth? When it's something that happened almost 90 years ago, it's unlikely we will ever really know the story or have any kind of conclusion to this really creepy story.
It happens.
The year was 2004, and an American college student named David Snedden, he was hiking through China's Yunnan province. A stunning part of the country, the Patatso National Park, with spectacular mountains, almost what you would expect when you think fantastical Chinese backdrops. But this would be the backdrop to a very sinister and perplexing story. In 2004, David Snedden was 24 years old, the youngest of 11 kids in the family. And in the August of that year, he was out in the wild. He was in China, taking summer language classes in Beijing, leaving behind his parents, Roy and Kathleen, in Utah. David had just finished his junior year in Brigham Young, wanting to spend the summer in China studying, then a few weeks hiking through the wilderness before going to see his brother in Seoul, South Korea, before then returning to college and later applying to law school. David would email his folks back in the States a couple of times a week. The plan was to hike around China until about August 28th, when he was then due to leave the country. He was due to get a flight to Seoul. The final email David sent read this. This was August 11th, 2004. I'm in Lijiang now, in Western Yunnan province. I will take a bus to hike Tiger Leaping Gorge in about half an hour. I'm having a great time here, but nonetheless, I'm excited to come home. And that, my friends, was that. No one heard from David after that email he sent to his parents. Now, the worry, though, truly began when David never showed up to meet his brother in Seoul, and that's when everybody began freaking out. No one knew even where in China he was. David was last seen leaving a Korean restaurant in the city of Shangri-La, which is a tourist city just outside the national park. This was August 14th. They alerted the Chinese authorities, who went into the national park and began searching around for him, searching that gorge he said he was going to, searching the countryside, searching the mountains, searching the cliffs. Everywhere he said he was going, and they found nothing. He had vanished into the wilds of China. He wasn't in a hospital or a jail cell. His bank account was untouched, and his passport never used. The theory the Chinese authorities came to was that he had fallen into the Jinsha River, a fast-flowing and rocky river Tiger Leaping Gorge overlooked, and he would never be found. David was an experienced outdoors man, but it happens. Though previously, all people who drowned in that river, their bodies had been recovered. David's would be the first. The family would go out there themselves looking for answers, not believing the Chinese story. And as they searched, it seemed like they had good reason not.
If you're in your 30s, this one's
Chinese law, at this stage anyway, it requires that all foreigners, non-Chinese nationals, that the hotels that they're staying in, it keeps a log of them when they came in, where they're staying, their names, copy of their passports, right? So there should have been evidence of where David was going around to. David's hotel had mysteriously lost the logbook for him. Couldn't say if he stayed here, at all. Had no answers, Racking my brains, can't help you, pal. This was the case for every place David had stayed around that national park while he'd been trekking through the wilds. One place, okay. Two places, getting weird. All of the places had no trace of David Sneddon being there. Something was up. And then, this is where things get even stranger. His family would go around Shangri-La. It's a small enough city, touristy city, looking for any clues as to where David had been. He had been staying here before he went into the park. They would go around, questioning people, showing them a photograph of David. Do you remember this white guy? He's an American in the middle of nowhere, China. People will probably remember him. And people did. People remembered David. They said, oh, he stayed here, oh, he did this, he did that. In fact, they would be able to say that he had gone into the national park. He'd gone to Tiger Leaping Gorge, just as he said in the old clackety-clackety email, and he had come back. He had gone and come back. It seems very unlikely that the Chinese authorities would not have discovered this. So their story was looking more and more like it was bullshit. Like he hadn't disappeared into the park, disappeared into the wild, into the woods. No, he had gone there and made it back. But what happened then? And soon after, with all of the questions, maybe these people who remembered David suddenly began forgetting things. Then a theory began to form. And the thing was, this wasn't a theory people pulled out of their asses. It was because it fit a pattern. David had perhaps been abducted by North Koreans and whisked away. He spoke English and Korean. There was no evidence left behind, which made it look professional. Things went missing and people forgot. There was no real investigation by the Chinese authorities into what happened to him. He was last seen at a Korean restaurant, and North Korea is known to use restaurants as a cover for spying. And China and North Korea work together a lot. A month before David was taken, a man named Charles Jenkins, who was an American who had defected to North Korea in 1965, what a great idea that was, he was returned to the US. He had spent decades in North Korea teaching English to military officers. Now North Korea was out a English Korean speaker, maybe they needed a new one. David was in Yunnan, a place where he could easily be whisked away because it wasn't exactly full of Westerns. This went all the way to the top. The US government would actually be involved in the David Sneddon case. And the thing was, the North Koreans, when they were questioned, they never seemed surprised. They never asked, David who? They never denied it.
This is one of the last known photos of David Sneddon, taken in the summer of 2004, just days before the 24-year-old who was born and raised in Lincoln, Nebraska, vanished without a trace while hiking in China near the Tibet border.
In many respects, it'd almost be easier if we found the body and if he was dead and you bring closure. I'm a closure person. We just don't think he is dead.
In Skype interviews with Sneddon's parents and one of his brothers, they detailed how they traveled to China shortly after his disappearance and talked to witnesses, including a guide, all who disproved the original explanation Sneddon fell to his death into the Tiger Leaping Gorge.
And confirmed that David had made it through the gorge with them and actually finished the trek through the gorge.
But that left bigger questions.
Why would he disappear? And who would be responsible?
The group investigating a series of Japanese kidnappings believes it has the answer.
North Korea makes a startling confession that it abducted a group of ordinary Japanese citizens during the 1970s and 80s.
They contacted the Sneddon family.
Said, I think that your brother has been abducted by North Korean agents.
At first, they didn't believe it, but then considering David was fluent in Chinese and Korean, he would be quite a catch to train spies.
David's linguistic skills and the Midwestern accent would be very useful in that part of the world.
In 2012, 8 years after David disappeared, a Japanese nonprofit that works with Japanese people kidnapped and taken to North Korea would reveal a source indicated that in August of 2004, a 24-year-old American studying in China was taken away. He'd been handed to 5 North Korean agents. He'd been accused of helping illegal immigrants in China, like people who had fled North Korea to China. That was the allegation they trumped up, and so Chinese authorities handed him over to the North Koreans. That's what this Japanese nonprofit heard. They didn't have the name David Sneddon, but it was an American in Shangri-La in 2004. Again, then also that very same year, a South Korean man who worked with North Koreans fleeing the country, he would be able to say that a man matching David Sneddon's description had been spotted just outside Pyongyang teaching English in the country, teaching English to North Korean military officers. However, any questions or leads, investigations have all been completely stonewalled.
The report claims Sneddon now lives in the capital, Pyongyang, with a wife and 2 kids. It's a staggering theory that his parents have claimed for years.
It doesn't come as a shock because we have done our research and spent time involved, and we do think that David is in North Korea.
What would you want to say to him?
We haven't forgotten you, David. I think that's what we worry about most, is there's no communication for him, we believe, and we just haven't forgotten, and we're not going to stop until we at least know what happened, and we want you to come home.
Never do these 3 things.
What actually happened to David since remains a mystery. Perhaps he did die in the national park, who knows? Or he is teaching Kim Jong whatever English these days. It's been 22 years since David vanished. So maybe we will never know. Or maybe he is still alive to this day, a victim of the North Korean government and their abduction plot. They have a habit of abducting people. They love to do it, mad about it, always at it. Maybe he was another one. The Devil's Den State Park lies in northwest Arkansas. It's close to absolutely nothing other than Moore Park. It's part of the Ozarks and is particularly well known for its large campsites, its incredible hikes, and just as a really cool place to stay. You can stay at the cabins, there are waterfalls, a wide variety of trails. It truly is something for everybody. It's got its history too. It ain't named Devil's Den for nothing. The park is littered with rocky outcroppings, crevasses, and caves which were at one time home to outlaws, hence the Devil's Den. It was also at one time used as a hiding place for Confederate guerrillas, and then later for moonshiners during the Prohibition. These days, though, it's just known as a nice place to go for a walk in the woods, which is what, on July 26th, 2025, the Brink family were doing. The Brink family, made up of 43-year-old Clinton, his wife, 41-year-old Kristen, and their two daughters, 9 and 7, were out hiking one fine summer Saturday at Devil's Den. The couple were originally from Montana, having moved to Arkansas only recently enough. Clinton worked as a nursing assistant and delivery driver, known to his patients and coworkers as kind, gentle, and very dependable, having just been named Employee of the Month. His wife, Kristen, a registered nurse with a passion for singing and needlework. A strong and funny woman who also showed up, whether in person or on the court, where she was an awarded volleyball player. The Brink family had 3 daughters in total: Brianna, Ariana, and Christina. Brianna, she was the oldest. She lived with her husband and was expecting her own first child in the summer of 2025. Clinton and Kristen loved the outdoors. They constantly hiked and kayaked with their daughters. Coming from Montana, a place known for it, to Arkansas, another place known for it, it ain't much of a surprise.
Make sure that the drop rates are still going, make sure everything is still functioning the way it should be. Just take it down. Okay. And then, I think that's it. I hope that's it. That's how we do an IV. My IV's not really staying. I don't have an arm up here for it to connect to. All right. I think I've done it.
Saturday, July 26th, the family were out on a hike in Devil's Den, and as they do, you know, it was another beautiful summer's day. Now, the family did hikes, you know what I mean? Like, when they hiked, they hiked. That day, though, the park was quiet. The Devil's Den trail, the trail they were on, rated moderate difficulty, but nothing they couldn't handle. And so around lunchtime this day, they were deep in the woods, in a remote section of the park. No cell phone service, dark and deep. And they did not know it, but the Brinks family were not the only people there. There was someone else in the park, someone the Brinks had never met before and had no idea who he was. What we do know is that at one point, the Brinks family encountered this individual who attacked them without any provocation or hesitation. He drew a knife and began attacking Clinton brutally and viciously, stabbing him. As Clinton tried to fight him off, he yelled for his wife to take the children and run. Kristen grabbed both her daughters, the 9 and 7-year-old, and ran away from the ambush. Kristen ran till they were a fair distance away, off the trail, out of danger. Then Kristen ran back. She ran back to help her husband. The two girls were soon located by another hiker, and they told them what had just happened to their parents, and they had no idea if their mom and dad were okay or not. The hiker actually went down himself to the scene of, you know, where they were pointing to, where they said they had been viciously attacked, and he saw, lying on the trail, bodies and a trail of blood. Taking the two girls with them, they walked and walked and walked, which took a while to get to an area with phone service, and dialed 911.
I saw possible stabbing, Devilston State Park. Washington County received a call from the visitor center. 2 children are there. They advised that their parents were assaulted. One was possibly stabbed. The parents are missing.
We're all sweeping the trail, me, and I've got a maintenance person with me trying to locate the family. Do me a favor and ask them again what the parents' names were and just relay on this channel. Got two bodies down here.
This is breaking news from KNWA.
We begin with breaking news tonight as this was the scene at Devil's Den State Park just hours ago where Arkansas State Police are investigating a double homicide, and that suspect still on the run right now.
Authorities arrived and discovered the horrifying scene. Both Clinton and Kristen had been stabbed to death. Their bodies were covered in blood, it trailing from their bodies, and there was no sign of the attacker. Police locked down the park. Arkansas State Police began their investigation, questioning everyone who was in the area at the time. One witness told police that he had seen an individual who had emerged from the trail with what appeared to be blood on his face. He even watched as this person got into a black sedan and drove away from the park on Highway 170. A second witness was even able to confirm the car was a Kia Stinger. Police had one image they were able to share of the suspect, seeing this guy with blood on his face One of the people at the park that day had snapped this pic. The description was put out, and the hunt was on.
Law enforcement are still here canvassing the area. They're all around the trails, which are all closed off. So they're still doing a pretty thorough sweep of the area, which is difficult because, you know, the terrain is steep and it's a large area of ground to cover.
It would be those descriptions of the suspected perpetrator's car, most of all, that would lead directly to his identity.
Hey, Georgia, let me explain.
Knowing the vehicle make and the road he'd driven on, they were able to find video footage of the Kia, and it in turn gave them a license plate and subsequently a name. And this, on Wednesday, July 30th, 4 days after the double homicide, led police to Lupita's Beauty Salon and Barbershop in Springdale, which you would get to via Highway 170. The Kia Stinger was parked outside. Investigators walked in, asked people inside, who owns that Kia Stinger? And one blonde-haired fella put his hand up. He was taken in at 5 p.m., mid-perm, without incident. He had several cuts on his hands, and searching the sedan, there appeared to be blood inside the vehicle. His name is Andrew McGann, owner of a gnarly pair of Manson lamps, and the story just gets even darker the more you look into it, and it's already pitch black. Andrew McGann, 28 years of age at the time of the murders, had no criminal history till this point. Though he did have a history. So why did he do this? I mean, we just hazard a guess. But he seems to be a very disturbing character with some very dark obsessions. I think we can take for granted he had some pretty horrifying secrets. Andrew had only moved to Arkansas a few months prior, much like the Brink family, and was set to become an elementary school teacher in Springdale. He had in fact worked as a teacher in at least 5 different school districts in the previous 3 years. He moved around a lot, from Arkansas to Oklahoma to Texas. His teaching history, though, was interesting when you start to dive into it. He once quit on the first day of the semester. In another school district, he was placed on administrative leave for inappropriate behavior with the kids. He would display favoritism towards the female students, giving candy, but only to the girls, you know? He would tickle the girls. He would allow them to stay in the classroom with him during lunchtime, just him and the gals. In fact, a parent of one of his former students would say he once put a girl on his lap, saying he wished he could date her. Yikes. And now, I know what you're probably thinking, given maybe his predilection towards younger girls, but there is no evidence he was after the 2 young Brinks girls when he attacked them. That's what the authorities would say. But just because there's no evidence doesn't mean he wasn't. And I mean that sort of in more than one way, because since Andrew's arrest, other police in other jurisdictions have asked to look into him. Vermont State Police, they have an unsolved murder from back in 2023.
Vermont police desperately searching for the suspect responsible for the fatal shooting of Honore Fleming, a beloved former Vermont State University professor.
I wouldn't say it's random, and I wouldn't say it's targeted, because we just don't have enough evidence.
Both the suspect and the motive behind the deadly attack still a mystery. And today, as schools reopen, authorities warning the community to be on alert, cautioning the man is armed and dangerous.
Honore Fleming, a 77-year-old woman, she was out hiking in the Delaware and Hudson Rail Trail, western side of the state. This retired Vermont State University dean was out there October 2023. Other hikers stumbled across her body. She'd been shot in the head an hour before she was found. A person of interest in the case, a male with short red hair, about 5 feet 10 inches tall. He was last seen wearing a dark gray t-shirt and carrying a black backpack. Andrew is 6 feet tall, close enough, and a natural redhead.
And Vermont State Police have reached out to their Arkansas counterparts to discuss Andrew McGann, the man accused of killing 2 people at Devil's Den State Park on July 26th. BSP is currently investigating the murder of Honore Fleming, a 77-year-old woman who was reportedly shot and killed on the Delaware and Hudson Rail Trail in October 2023. The investigation into Fleming's murder is ongoing, and no arrests have been made at this time. McGann's next court date is set for next Thursday.
Investigators have also been reviewing his possible involvement in a 2020 unsolved stabbing at Devil's Lake State Park in Wisconsin. In October, again, 2020, 24-year-old John Schmutzer was out hiking alone when his body was found. He'd been stabbed to death Witnesses reported seeing a white male about 5'10" to 6 feet tall, dressed in black with a hood, mask and backpack, fleeing the scene. Andrew allegedly admitted to killing the Brinks. His DNA matched evidence found at the scene, the wounds on his hands, and it looks pretty straightforward, though he has since pleaded not guilty. If found to be so, he faces the possibility of the death penalty. No date has been set exactly as of yet, but it's believed it's going to be happening around springtime of 2027. Folks, if more of this stuff is coming out, you can be certain that you and I will be doing a deep dive into this highly disturbing individual, an alleged double homicider, maybe even more. But that'll do it for this whole video. Folks, thank you so much for sitting through
know.
episode of National Park Horrors. It means a lot to me. I know this series is kind of I got a lot of messages about it. I think some of you guys really enjoy it, and I certainly do. Because national parks are awesome and spooky. But you know what? The next video will be up whenever it's up, so please give it a view when it is. If you're looking for some more of that chapter content, you can check out the merch store, with all that kind of stuff, or you can check out the Patreon. For $2 a month, early access, ad-free, all videos. There's a list of Patreon-only exclusive videos and a Discord, so you know what? Give it a view. But until next time, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. My kid.
Oh, like I had scrolled down. I don't know why I did that. I don't know where I want to go. Like I know I'm supposed to be sticking to true crime. Let me fast lock. Hold on, let me see what's going on. See if it's giving me a look.
Footage of the alleged shooting? There is not, Judge. Okay. I just want to clarify that.
Do we just really wait 9 whole months for them to tell us that there is no video evidence of Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk, even though there's cameras surrounding that entire campus? The Tyler Robinson show trial began yesterday in Utah. The preliminary hearing to determine which pieces of evidence can be admitted in court. Let's break down what's been presented so far, but I gotta tell you guys, what an absolute clown show, fed slop circus that we're seeing. First off, TPUSA spokesperson Andrew Colvett tweeted out this morning that there was a, quote, mountain of evidence. Well, let's sift through that mountain of evidence, shall we? Maybe starting with, is there footage of Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk?
Is there any footage of the alleged shooting? There is not, Judge. Okay. I just want to clarify that. Ms. Nestor, given that additional information and anything further from defense?
No, but I think I'd like to be crystal clear. You asked if there's any portion of this video that captures, and I believe you asked of the actual shooting. There's no video of that. There is video, however, and you've heard testimony related to this, where the shooter goes to the top of the low-C building, goes out to the edge of the building, low crawls, and then leaves after what we assume is the shot being fired.
Do we just really wait 9 whole months for them to tell us that there is no video evidence of Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk, even though there's cameras surrounding that entire campus? Is the only thing they have this blurry video of a person who they say is Tyler Robinson jumping off a rooftop? Because guess what else? The officer who supposedly surveilled the rooftop after the shooting, his body cam apparently died. Take a listen.
All right, your body cam footage that I reviewed appears to end while you're still on the roof. Do you know why that is?
I think his battery went dead. It was just right at that moment.
Okay. And do you know, did you ever turn it back on that day or go get it I don't know, would you have to charge it or stick a new battery in it? I don't even know.
Usually dock it, but no, I didn't go back. It was too chaotic running around.
So that 27-minute and 35-second body cam that starts when you're at the Hall of Flags and ends while you're still on the roof, but haven't put the crime tape up yet, that's the only body cam you have that day?
Yes. How does stuff like this always seem to just
27
happen,
minutes.
right? We have Epstein with the jail camera malfunctioning. We also have Tyler Robinson when he was brought to jail, right? That footage is somehow now missing as well. What the hell is going on here?
A little bit more information about that. It says Officer Bagley, who found the sniper's pad on the Losi Center roof at UVU, testified his body camera died just 1 hour and 44 minutes into an 11 a.m. shift. Modern body cams are built for 10 to 14 hours of continuous recording. He walked away with roughly 27 minutes of footage from that entire day of Charlie Kirk's assassination and never recharged or swapped it, citing the chaos. Okay, well, let's just say that was an unfortunate coincidence. Battery just unexpectedly died or malfunctioned. But guess what? It gets worse, because guess who Tyler Robinson was meeting with on the morning of the...
I am Winnie Gabriel, a professional basketball player, an Olympian, and a former refugee. Brutal war and violence threat.
The assassination.
Suicide.
I believe that's Tyler Robinson. All right, where does he go from there?
He heads out of the parking garage on foot into the campus, and actually goes to the quad area of the campus. At that time, he makes contact with some representatives from TPUSA.
I'm sorry, what? Tyler Robinson was...
When the fuck did he have time to put these jeans on?
Making contact with representatives from TPUSA? I don't know, might be kind of relevant to figure out who. Now, interestingly, an eyewitness testimony confirmed by the same agent in court claimed that Tyler Robinson was seen driving around in a vehicle with a bald man and 3 others. Okay, take a listen.
I remember reading the report at some point, yes.
And do you remember that the Nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle was bald?
I do remember that being in the report, yes.
And you didn't mention that today when you were talking about that ring camera, did you?
I did not.
And did they also tell you there were 3 other people in the car?
Yes, I believe they thought that was the case.
A bald man and 3 others. This is by no means an allegation. I'm not insinuating anything other than here is a bald man with 3 other people. If you know, you know. Anyway, there were a few other pieces of peculiar evidence that was introduced by the prosecution. There's item number 7, which is the towel wrapped around the rifle allegedly used to murder Charlie Kirk. That evidently had DNA samples matching 95% to Lance Twiggs and 5% to Tyler Robinson. Item number 8, the screwdriver on the Losi Center that was found had DNA samples matching 89% to Lance Twiggs and 11% to Tyler Robinson. Look, I am far from a forensic expert, so maybe somebody could explain to me in the comments. There seems to be a lot more Lance Twiggs than Tyler Robinson, so why the hell is he not on trial? Why is he just a witness in this case and not a defendant? I find that to be very interesting. And also another thing about that screwdriver that was supposedly left on the rooftop when Tyler Robinson assembled and disassembled the gun, as reported to us by CNN on September 11th, which is the day after the shooting. That to me was always really bizarre because, remember, the gun was found intact, right? They said wrapped in a towel in the woods, which would mean that Tyler had a second screwdriver to put the gun back together. I don't know, another thing that just doesn't make sense. And then there was also this other tidbit where the agent on the stand, I believe his name is Agent Hull, confirmed that they had found another bullet on a different rooftop. Take a listen to what he says here.
Wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th. Yeah.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was a unfired bullet, so now you're saying it was a cartridge?
When it
wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during
why it's
my
something
time
going on
there
like that.
on September 10th. Yeah.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was a unfired bullet, now you're saying it was a cartridge?
When a weapon is cleared,
Uh-huh.
an officer would make his rifle ready, which would chamber around.
Oh, I got you.
My understanding was that that's how that was accounted for.
So an officer claimed that bullet belonged to him or her?
That's my recollection, is that was how it was accounted for.
And when was that accounted for?
I don't know specifically.
Do you remember what type of bullet that was?
I don't.
Was it a 30-06, do you remember?
I don't.
Do you know where that bullet is now?
I don't.
Okay.
Basically, I have perfect memory of everything, up until the point where it becomes somewhat inconvenient for me to recall anything, at which point I don't remember anything at all. And speaking of not properly preserving a crime scene, let's not forget that the FBI allegedly ordered the entire courtyard to be torn down and repaved just days after the shooting at UVU. It literally makes no sense to do something like this unless you were trying to cover something up.
So this is an endoscope?
Do you know when the tent and stuff was actually removed from the scene?
I don't. I would imagine it been at least a couple of days, if not longer than that, before anything was removed from the scene.
You didn't have to give permission to remove the tent?
Me, personally?
Right.
No.
So you're not sure when it was removed?
No.
And were you involved in the decision to pave over the dirt that was under the tent?
At UVU?
Uh-huh.
No.
Did you know that happened?
Only because it was in the news.
Alright, but you don't know when or who ordered that?
So the lead investigator of the Charlie Kirk assassination had no idea who ordered the crime scene to be destroyed and only learned about it on the news. Once again, nothing makes any sense. But hey, let's talk about the other side.
Right.
Because, like we opened with, we were told that there was a mountain of evidence, a Mount Everest of evidence. So what exactly do they have? Well, according to the New York Post, Tyler Robinson's defense team was hit with a huge blow after the judge ruled prosecutors can play never-before-seen footage of his alleged movements on the day Charlie Kirk was killed. So let's take a look at this video.
You believe this is Mr. Robinson returning to campus?
I do, yes.
Okay. And what do you believe is Mr. Robinson?
The shoes are the same, and the images that we have are from my viewing and seeing Mr. Robinson on the video. It's the same person.
Now, what do we see?
It says Mr. Robinson coming up the stairs of the parking structure. Again, he seems to be having issues walking.
And again, we're able to track Mr. Robinson when he leaves this parking structure.
Yes, we were able to. And again, in the top left corner, the individual is now seen running across the rooftop of the Losi building to what would be the southwest corner of the building, crouching down and then crawling to the corner of the building.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the devastating blow. I mean, I guess it is something, and of course, I'm not a lawyer. Once again, lawyers, please chime in the chat. But if I was trying to convict someone, I would imagine I would want a hell of a lot more evidence than that. Baron Coleman, who has been doing fantastic coverage of the case, said, quote, "Am I hearing correctly that Tyler Robinson arrived at 8:30 a.m. on September 10th, walked to the quad area, and made contacts with TPUSA reps?" Yes, that is what we heard. And two, then his car is seen on a ring camera at 12:30 a.m. on 9/11, but the homeowner says it was driven by a bald man and had 3 others with him. And yes, we heard that as well. That is what they presented to us. So I believe this case is yet again another test to see just how much they can push the public to accept a conclusion that has been predetermined, to see just how much the public has left of an appetite to question what we're being told, to examine the evidence, to think critically about what's been presented to us, because if we don't, then they know we are willing to accept just about anything. That is it for me today. I will be continuing to provide updates on this case. Obviously, Barron has the daily deep dives. Candace is always doing her thing. For a quick summary, if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Which, by the way, I am very curious. What do you guys think about what's been presented to us so far? Because, hey, look, to me, it looks like a whole lot of nothing. I got to be honest with you. If you want to support my journalism, you can go to my website, 5149jameslee.com. Sign.
Stop touching my stuff. Let me cut my mic off. I'm gonna get out of here. I just find that very odd and suspicious, you know. Stop trying to knock stuff down, sir. Sir, just leave it. Because you're literally just trying to knock stuff down. I'm gonna put you down in a second. Okay, what was Ian talking about?
The election is a streak to be proud of.
I'm gonna just cut my camera off and just let it ride.
We're saving
Not
a little
me.
money each
Me.
month.
Me.
It's a way to take care of yourself and your community.
Right, I'm like, cut
But
me off.
sometimes life gets in the way, and we break our streak.
Oh.
Do you remember that the nobles told you that the driver of the vehicle
In the
was
meantime, in between time, love you, bye. Mwah.